What's up, everybody? Nick, the comic book nerd here, and we're gonna do my new Monday live stream called Origins. This vlog is gonna be all about you personally as a subscriber or as a content pusher, and we're gonna open up with somebody who pushed my content to totally new levels, and made me want to stick with this and everything. And he just pushes so many people's content. Like, he's just the best guy out there right now. So I'm gonna bring in Andy from Perpetual Comics. What's up, Andy?
What's up? Oh, mate, I am so honored for you to pick me as the first person for your Origin show. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You know what it is? You're just so easy to talk to. I think anytime I've ever sent you any kind of a question through Instagram or whatever it is, you're literally on in minutes and responding. So you're super helpful. And like I said, I can never thank you enough for, I hit 100 subscribers. I say this all the time in every video now that I was sitting at like 80 subscribers, and in 2 days I hit 100, and I was like, this is amazing because, I just kind of paused my content, but seeing your content and seeing you push gave me so much more to look forward to. So thank you for being here.
Oh, no, you're more than welcome. I knew exactly how it felt whenever I first started in YouTube, which was in October. So I had people supporting me, the likes of James and Sean, that I do panels and pints with. So and I put out the back call to everybody that's in my social media to come and join us this evening and show you some support. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, very cool. Let's say hey to the chat real quick. So I'm new to this StreamYard thing, everybody, but we have the noob saying, hey ho, what's up, man? Thanks for checking it out. I saw you were in here before we even started. That's so awesome. Sith Lordly, thanks for joining in, man. Good old Andy from Perpetual Comics. Attention Seeking Geek. Oh, no, wrong one. Jason Parker. See, you guys are commenting so fast. I see why everyone says that they get lost in the comments now. Jason Parker, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. And there it is. Attention Seeking Geek. What's going on, man?
My man.
So again, thanks so much, everybody, for being here. Like I said, the goal is to learn about you guys, kind of how like you got into the love for what we do, and kind of like a past, present, future thing. We're gonna ask a whole bunch of questions to Andy here, and if he wants to show off some content, feel free, man. And yeah, so if anybody has any questions for Andy in the chat, feel free to fire them off. I'm gonna try and I'll try and keep them all live as we go.
Be nice, chat. Just be nice, chat. That's all I ask. I'm fragile. And just before we do start, Nick is doing himself a real disservice when he says that he's really new to StreamYard. What he actually means is that literally 20 minutes ago, I was walking him through how to get this set up. I didn't realize that he didn't use StreamYard, so that's another reason that you should give this video a thumbs up, because he's doing a fantastic job, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, literally, I was telling Andy I'm not a tech wizard, and thankfully he is. And in 5 minutes, I learned how to do all this. So amazing stuff. All right, my friend, are you ready?
I don't know. I'll tell you in an hour or so.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we'll get some questions in, and like I said, just give your answers. Be honest, however you want to do it, man. So
let's do it.
All right. Alrighty. So my first question, and so basically before we actually get started, these are really going to be my questions for everybody. So like I said, if you want to come on here, feel free to message me on Instagram under the same account. I'm trying to set it up every Monday, and I could do it at any time. We're 5 hours time difference. So he told me 8 o'clock is good for him. For me, it was 3 o'clock for me. Perfect. So anything works. The goal is to get everybody on here. So, all right, Andy, my first question for you, sir. How did you first find your love for comic books? Like, where did it all begin?
I really should have prepared for all these questions, because full transparency, guys, Nick did send me the questions that he was thinking about asking me. I cast my eye over them, and I thought to myself, if I think about this too much, then it's just going to be a bit robotic. How did my love start for comics? So I guess it started whenever I picked up my very first book. And that's very true, Sith. That's probably the most important thing, is be nice to Nick, but not to Andy. That's kind of that's everybody's mantra at the minute. I'm going to get a T-shirt with that on it. And there was a really good, before I answer that question, there was a really good question from Attention Seeking Geek that I think you missed, was at what age did I lose my hair?
There it is.
I think that is a really good question, and one that I'll save for later on. So my love was whenever I picked up my first comic book, I guess, which I think there's probably a difference. So there's probably when I got comics given to me to read, and then I re-picked up my love for comics So I think my first comic book was a Batman book that someone gave to me,
Okay.
and I enjoyed the escapism. I enjoyed the story. I still like Batman. He's certainly not my favorite character. But then I kind of drifted away from comics and collecting, and it wasn't until where I lived back home in Glasgow, my neighbour, or my new neighbour, moved in, and it was kind of one of those awkward moments where you're not too sure. Both of us are quite shy. We don't want to say hello to people.
Okay.
And he said, I noticed he had like a Batman t-shirt on, and that's how the conversation got started. And before you knew it, he was a major collector, and that was a rabbit hole I was back in, and that's probably where my love for comics started again.
Very cool. So it was kind of like something that happened for you, like at like a younger age, and then all of a sudden it just, it like came back around, and it's almost like you remembered it, and obviously here we are, it exploded again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm 38, so
Okay.
I'm practically an old man, Nick.
Mhm.
Um, you should ask Attention Seeking Geek. He knows what feeling old is like. Also a fellow baldy as well. But yeah, no, that was probably when I was about 11
Okay.
years of age. And then it just got reinvigorated. And then I lost it again and never, not my hair, the love of comics. And it kicked off again when I ever actually moved from Glasgow to Northern Ireland,
Okay.
where I'm based now. And I just started, I got a new job, you've got a little bit more disposable income, and you just start buying those books. And you know what it's like, Nick, you buy one,
Yeah.
you have to get another one. And I'm a
Yeah.
completionist. So if I start something, I need to get all the books.
Awesome. It's never, I like to say it's never a bad thing, man. When you're doing something you love, it's not a bad thing.
Totally.
So do you happen to remember who gave you that first comic book? Was it like somebody special to you, or when you read that Batman, or?
Do you know, I actually think do you know, now that I think about it, I'm thinking of it even further back than that. Do you know a character called Asterix?
I do
Asterix
not.
and the Obelix. So Asterix was like a, a book that I would have read whenever I was like school. So I'm talking like we call it like primary school. So I don't know what that is, the equivalent is in America, but it's like
Okay.
your first maybe 5 or 6 years of school. The person that gave me my first actual comic book, physical comic book, I don't actually remember. I actually don't remember. I don't even think it was
Okay.
like my parents or anything like that, or any
Okay.
relations.
Nice.
It could have been just one that I picked up locally. I can't remember, mate.
All right. Yeah. Hey, that's all right. Totally okay. I get it.
What a
And it's
terrible,
funny too.
terrible answer, Nick, isn't it? I'm rubbish at this.
You know what it is? 'Cause when you think about it too now, like, look now, like, how many comics books do you? I think I have 1,500 books now. Like, how many do you have? It's insane. To
It
think that.
depends, Nick, if my wife is going to watch this replay. Probably about the same as you, Nick, or
Uh,
maybe slightly more, maybe about 5 or 6 times that amount,
okay.
maybe.
Fair. I'll keep that for you. Alrighty. So my next question was initially going to be, what was your first memory of comic books? We went into that in the first one, which is great, and I wanted to ask you your age and your location of it, and we knocked that one out. So we're gonna move right on.
That
Uh,
means the way.
so the first comic book you ever read was Batman, you said, right?
Yeah,
All right.
first one was
So,
Batman.
how did it work there? How did you like kind of become a Batman fan? Was it the comic book first, or like was there like a movie or a show that kicked you into it?
I would argue if I'm actually even a Batman fan, to be honest, Nick. It's like
Okay.
I would say closely after Batman, and it was the love of reading comics as opposed to the character that drew me in.
Okay.
So it started with Batman as a character and reading through the comics, and then it evolved into, right, okay, I love the medium of comics. I
Mhm.
hate reading any length of books. I hate
Okay.
reading like full-blown books. So
Yeah.
give me all the pictures that I can possibly get. So it evolved into Judge Dredd. So that would be a typically British comic book hero of mine. And it started just with like magazine form.
Okay.
And yeah, so 2000 AD would be, I'm a big fan of 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, Judge Anderson, all those guys. So yeah.
Very, very cool. Awesome, bro. Um, do you remember what the first comic book you ever personally bought was?
Yes, it was more than likely a Judge Dredd 2000 AD program, I would say.
Very cool. Okay. You ever see the Judge Dredd movies and everything, like Sylvester
Oh yeah,
Stallone?
yeah.
Okay.
I've seen both of them. The first one, Sylvester Stallone was a little bit of, yeah, it wasn't that great. But the second one I
Painful.
really enjoyed. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
The
cool.
second one I
Yeah,
really enjoyed.
nice, dude. Your friends are getting rid of you, man.
Listen, I didn't say I wasn't a Batman fan. I just said I'm not like there's levels of not being a Batman fan. There's like,
Yeah.
you can give or take it, or there's James from Comic Deal who absolutely despises Batman. Like even he done like the five worst things about Batman. So guys, go check out Comic Deal, make sure that you sub up to him and watch that video, because if you're any inclination of liking Batman, you might change your mind after watching that video.
Burn him down, buddy. Burn him down. That's funny. All right. Judge Dredd, good selection. You had a good taste, huh? So here's another note. I'll ask you something that I didn't even have written down here. So like, is like Marvel and DC as big over there as it is over here in the States?
Yeah, yeah. Marvel and DC is that's where everybody goes to and
Yeah.
gravitates to. For me, it wouldn't be the case. Like I'm kind of known as being the guy that loves all the indie titles and the indie books.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm much more of an indie fan. I can't remember. I don't even think I've got any DC books on my pull list at the minute, which is
Okay.
obviously strange considering Batman's such a
Yeah.
big read at the moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, indies would be where I would go to.
All right. Yeah. What about when you were growing up? Like, was like Marvel and DC a big thing over there, or?
Oh yeah,
All
Spider-Man,
right.
yeah, Superman,
Very
Batman,
cool.
yeah, they're all the go-to that everybody would go to.
Very, very cool. I never knew because, like, I mean, like now, obviously, Marvel, the movies with the MCU is so universal. So I just wasn't sure if
Yeah.
this was always a big thing. Very neat. How many, like, around where you live, like, how many LCSs would you say there are? Do you have like a big variety of places to go look, or no? Is it kind of limited?
No, very limited, specifically in Northern Ireland. So the two local comic shops would be, well, sorry, three local comic shops, I should say. So we've got Comic Book Guys, which is my LCS in
Okay.
Belfast, and then we've got Coffee and Heroes, which is another great local comic shop in Belfast, and then we have Forbidden Planet, which would be your sort of larger corporate. Sort of, it's not just comics that they do. It would be like pops and figures and all that good stuff.
Okay. So kind of it's like a midtown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like Midtown. That's a good way to describe it. But we're very very lucky to have those three shops in such a small city like Belfast.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't know like how certain places like you hear people go to comic shops that are like an hour away, and I'm like, that's terrible. You don't have anything else, and like it's the only one, but it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I guess a lot of people are just doing online at the minute, which is hard for the local comic shops. I sort of split my pull list from my local comic shop, Comic Book Guys, and like online retailers as well. So
Cool.
I try and do it 50-50 and sort of spread the love, as it were.
Nice. Yeah, no, hey, absolutely. You're the guy that spreads the love. If there was a picture of it next to the dictionary, it'd be you. Seriously.
Pause.
What's up, Captain? Say hi. I'm trying to catch up with everybody. Hey, Perry, saw you in here. Slim, what's up, man? Slim came in and saved my giveaway last night. This dude.
I did. I watched that this morning. I was sad that I missed it, but then I guess you're not sad because if I'd have won it, you'd have had to post it to the UK, which would have been a nightmare for you.
Hey, man,
especially that puzzle that you gave away.
Yeah, that was a big box. Shipping is just terrible with the weights. Can you remember? So I'm gonna ask you this specifically based off of like an indie character. Do you remember like an indie character or a hero that was like your first one? That was your first favorite?
Judge Dredd would be considered indie. Yeah, 2000 AD were neither Marvel or DC. So Judge Dredd would have been my first sort of independent superhero.
Would you say that's like still your favorite storyline or one of your favorite characters, or has that like kind of shifted through time?
No, definitely one of my favorite characters, without a doubt. If you look just behind me, I've got all the characters there, and I've got Judge Death, who's just there. So yeah, they would definitely be my go-to as well. But I guess I've sort of, there's over 1,000 programs. That's what they call the issues programs for 2000 AD. So there's lots and lots of different stories and different of arcs. So if you're starting from scratch, it's going to be a long haul. So I tend to just sort of dip in and out whenever I have the time to read them.
Okay, very cool, neat, man. I'm like, it's funny because like I look at some people and like when I was growing up, like The Amazing Spider-Man was a big show, and I can't even stand to read The Amazing Spider-Man right now. So it's just one of those
Yeah,
things.
I don't read it myself. I've heard it's a bit of a chore to get through it, especially for the sort of old school dedicated Spider-Man fans as well.
Yeah,
This new stuff is quite poor.
yeah. This guy is just always busting everybody's chops.
I did see that he was at the top. Like you
Twice.
reran it twice, and he was at the top. And I was just like, if he's at the top the third time, then there's something going on here.
Too funny. All right, let's move on. So, do you remember what the first like figure you have such a good display behind you? I can't imagine what the rest of the room looks like. But do you remember the first figure or statue you ended up buying when you set up this room behind you?
When I set up this room, I guess a lot of the stuff that's here is stuff that I've sort of picked up as I've got older. It's been from my mid-teens right to just now. So I would have sort of transported all this over to Northern Ireland when I moved over
Okay.
here. I'd say my very first figure that I purchased was in a Forbidden Planet store in Glasgow city centre, and it was Carnage. So it was old school OG Carnage figure
Very
with like
cool.
these accessories that you clipped onto his arms and stuff like that. So that would be the first one that I picked up. But hey, man. But I guess for Christmas and birthdays and things like that, I would have got like sort of the A-Team. Would have been a big fan of the A-Team. Thundercats, Mask. I loved Mask as well.
Very cool. Okay.
So yeah, those types of things.
Very neat. I like that. You kind of mentioned Carnage, which not that I'm saying Carnage is mainstream at all, but you mean like a Marvel hero, and then you just jumped into so many others that weren't like Marvel or DC. So I think that's awesome that you went with like what you truly loved, and I think it's amazing that you turned all of that stuff into this display because, like I said, it's just awesome. You get my wallet into trouble. I watched you unbox one of the DC multiverse figures. I think it was the Batman Who Laughs. I went and bought
Yeah.
I've gone and bought like 10 DC figures now, man. I'm just like, oh god.
Those McFarlane figures are fantastic. I actually put up my Instagram today. Is like, can you the thought for today was, can you imagine if McFarlane Toys made Star Wars figures? Because
Oh wow.
the Star Wars Black Series line and they're quite poor quality. They're not great. The attention to detail is quite poor. But can you imagine if McFarlane Toys made Star Wars figures? Just take my money.
Yeah, seriously. That's awesome. No, great thought. Great process to think through, like with that. All right, so we're gonna kind of go into a bit of like the community stuff now, and kind of like the social media aspect. So, do you perform a certain platform like Instagram or YouTube? Do you use Facebook or Twitter or anything like that? I mean, like or do you like use them for different things? Like, I feel like you use every one for a different aspect, which is genius.
Yeah, well, I guess Instagram. I prefer Instagram. That's well, in saying that, I guess it actually changes probably. But so I was saying to you before we went live, I started my YouTube channel in October, and the person to blame for that is James from Comic Deal. So myself, James, and Sean used to work together, but we never knew that we were geeks and that we enjoyed comics and all that good stuff. So it was only whenever I posted up something on Instagram that James got in touch and we started chatting. Myself, Sean, and James went into like a chat on Facebook, which is still going at the moment. And he said, "Oh, I have a YouTube channel," and I was like, "Oh, cool. Let me see." And that sort of, I've always had the aspiration to set up something, and I've always had the name Perpetual Comics in the back of my mind.
Okay.
And there was just one day I just went, you know what? I've got some spare time. I've got an afternoon. I'm going to try this. And my first video was the most painful thing. Although a lot of people here in the chat would probably say all my videos are painful, but it was horrible. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could get in front of the camera, that I could edit. I say edit in the loosest sense, but I could edit something together and put it out there. And it was horrible. I hated every moment of it, but it had to be done to allow me to do what I do now, which is jump on live, prompt you whenever I feel like it.
Yeah, no, Very cool. Yeah, it's kind of like a comfort zone thing. And I was saying in the backstage before this, I was saying how like it's so easy to talk about when the two of us, we love the same things. There's just mutual respect there and everything. So I think it makes it so much easier in that aspect too when you go live. So
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, but I guess yeah, Instagram. I enjoy the sort of pulling together the Instagram like pictures that I'm putting up. So that's very rarely that I would just snap something and then post it up. I kind of go through a process. I've got the same background and my OCD kicks in. All things have to be lined up and stuff like that. And that you sort of build a rod for your back to a certain extent, because once you've done it once or twice, you sort of find yourself having to do it all the time. And every so often, I just want to put up a random picture of comics, but then I go, oh, but my background isn't on it. It's not going to be Perpetual Comics if I don't put it. But I've started putting up my slabs for Slab Saturday and like tagging people in. So I use Instagram and I tag a lot of people in to get a bit of a community aspect of it. And I do out Sunday as well, where I pick 4 people on Instagram that enjoy their content and I sort of give them a shout out. So that I use that for that to build up the community. And I guess the YouTube is the community aspect of being able to go in the chat live and being able to go on other people's shows.
Yeah. Very cool. What's if you had to say and pick something, what's your favorite part about this community?
Favorite part about the community, I guess it's a mutual like and love for one thing. I guess not to get too deep and stuff like that. It's like the world at the minute is going through a pandemic, and the world at the minute is full of news that shows us how we're different from everybody else and how everybody is different from one another. But I guess at the core of it, we're kind of all the same, and we all want the same things. And we do want to eat lots of crackers, Jason. We love comics. We love being geeks. And this community sort of has that in common. Yes, there's individual groups, there's different channels and stuff like that, but when it's all said and done, it's all for the same thing, and we all just love the same aspect of this, which is collecting comics and talking geek with other people.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think like when I watch other people's channel, like I go into my job and people know superheroes here and there, but like they don't understand comics, and I'll legit talk to anybody about comic books. And like my lead supervisor, he's like almost 60 years old, and he's like, oh, he's still doing that YouTube thing, because of the YouTube thing. And I tell him all the time, like I explain, like, oh, I just shot this video and this video, so tomorrow I'm going and telling him I just did this.
Absolutely. So, and that's the thing as well, with lockdown and stuff like that, and the fact that you can't go out, you can't interact with people. I've said it before to a few guys that this is free therapy. Like this is therapy for everybody. We get to chat to each other. It's good for your mental health and all that good stuff, and just it's good to talk to people. And I guess that's what I always say to everybody. If anybody wants to drop me a DM or wants to jump on live or anything like that, if they're not feeling the greatest, then I'm always up for that. I'm always, because there's days that happens to me, and that's inevitably the days where I would reach out to people in the community and say, oh, what you're up to, how's things like that. So I guess it's free therapy to an extent.
Yeah, no, very cool. I think that's a great way to put it, and I think putting the pandemic into it and how, this kind of like relaxes people. It's so funny because I sit back sometimes and think like I can go binge a show on Netflix or I can catch up on some subs. And sometimes it's just, I think it's amazing to be able to catch up on sub videos. And, people look forward to TV on a Tuesday night. I look forward to YouTube on Tuesdays all day because I just catch up on everything from the weekend,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
He's never wrong, this guy. Never wrong. I think the first hashtag he sent me was hashtag Knicks stick together.
I'm not even going to ask.
All right, what am I up to here? All right, so we kind of just got over it, but I think I'm just going to elaborate more because I think you kind of short yourself. My question for you is going to be, what role do you play in the comic book community? So you talked about Instagram, you talked about YouTube, and how you get other people on. Like I said, you were a big pusher for my channel, a big pusher to get me pushing big content. But then, like I said, you check out your Instagram, and I don't know if it's every day that you do a picture, but there's always something. You give 4 shout outs, or you let 4 people know what books are coming out and stuff like that. Like I just think you do. Like I said, I think you kind of shorted yourself. I think you do so much more for this community that people don't even realize, because you go on YouTube, there's Andy, you go on Instagram, and there's Andy Daly, and then you go to Andy's story on Instagram, and it's literally there's nothing involving you on your story half the time. I feel like it's somebody's picture on YouTube or what somebody's gonna do. So to me, I just think that's amazing, and for two people who live, on the other side of the world, I think it's incredible what you do for everybody.
Oh no, I appreciate it. You're going to make me cry, Nick. That's like, no. I don't see myself as doing anything for the community. To be honest with you, honestly, I guess that's that. I just do what I do, and along the way, I've been able to build up lots and lots of friendships with people that I probably wouldn't have got the opportunity to speak with. I built up lots of friendship in the UK and Ireland, and also across the pond with you guys. Sith and the guys from Spinetix. Those guys are fantastic. They've sort of brought me into their group and made me feel really welcome. And Team Nerdherd from America, you've got Ian and the rest of the guys. That everybody at the core, everybody is nice. Everybody just wants to get along. Yeah. I guess, and I'm sure I'm not daft that there's drama within both types of both the UK and American community. But at the end of the day, it's just be nice to people.
Of course. No, I think you're right. I think it all has to do with, at the end of the day, I think we're all kind of the same type of person, and you're just that friendly face that everybody sees. So like I said, I think my channel owes you a huge thank you, obviously. Even all this stuff, just so you guys know, Andy set up the border to this and everything. He put it on his computer. He sent me the first picture of it after like 3 minutes, and I was like, that's amazing, because I don't know how long it would have taken me to do this. Yeah.
No, I kind of enjoy doing that sort of stuff. I love the design and stuff like that, and if anybody needs any help, then I'm more than happy to help them, and whether that's subs or doing an Instagram post or whatever, because I'm sure that people would do the same for me. So
no, I think so too. I think you're the type of person that I think you would give your shirt off your back to somebody and everything. So I just think, like I said, I think you're a great guy, and even the fact that you're here with me today, this is amazing. So.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
Do you remember? So you started YouTube in October. Do you remember when you started your Instagram?
Oh, good question. I think it would have been around about the same time, because the name Perpetual Comics would have been. I think I just went through and I got Twitter and I got everything at the same time. So I guess I could probably scroll back and have a look. Yeah, but I'd say roughly about October. Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember what your first picture was of that you posted?
I do. My first picture was actually my Perpetual Comics logo. Very cool. I literally said, I've went ahead and done something. I'm not too sure what it is yet. Let's see how this goes. That was my first post.
Very cool. No, that's awesome. So are you like only on social media for comic books, or do you have like your own personal page too?
I do have my own personal page.
Okay.
But a lot of my personal page was literally posts of all my geeky stuff. That's how
cool.
James Comic Deal found that I had enjoyment of comics and all that sort of stuff. So it was literally a progression of, I've moved from personal to make it Perpetual Comics.
Very neat. Very cool. That's another thing, like stepping out of your comfort zone, I was like posting stuff the same way, and finally there's a girl I work with who does baking, and she's like, oh yeah, I have a whole separate page for my baking because the hashtags and everything will get you more people, and now you like make friends. And I was like, now I look back today and I'm like, look at what she did. She's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I actually closed down my personal Instagram and then reset it back up again because I forgot that I had loads of pictures that I wanted to save off it. And I've just now got to the point where I've actually closed it back down because it was hard, juggling both of them, having to be active on both. And I just wanted to put 100% effort into Perpetual Comics. And that's probably why I'm able to actually put out so much content on Instagram.
Cool. No, very neat. Do you remember what your first YouTube video was posted of?
Yes. So my my first YouTube video was an unboxing from Forbidden Planet.
Okay.
And Forbidden Planet, it's got like a bit of a reputation of being poor when it comes to sending their books. So they don't specifically put it in backing boards. So if you buy like 3 comics, regardless of how much you spend on them, they'll put them in just one bag and without any board, and they'll put it in a mailer and it'll be off to you, and it takes ages for it to arrive.
Oh, wow.
So when mine's eventually arrived, I made that quite apparent on my video that this didn't come back to boarded these books, and I'd spent lots of money on them and all that good stuff. So basically, I was never going to get any sponsorship from Forbidden Planet. So that was done at that particular point.
You let that ship sail real quick.
Absolutely.
That's funny. Too funny. All right, so a big thing. I mean, we kind of everything we've talked about kind of led up to this. You know, why do you create content? You know, what made you suddenly decide I'm going to show everybody what I have and, you know, stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say it was actually to see what other people were collecting, what other people were reading. I try not to put up a lot of stuff where I'm showing off stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do my slabs, and I'm proud of the slabs that I've got, because 9 times out of 10 I've bought them off the rack, as it were, and I've went and sent them off to get graded myself, and I've
Very cool.
tried to show the UK community that you can actually send these off and do it yourself. This is how you do it. So I've been lucky enough that a lot of sort of big boy books, as it were, have come back with good grades, and I'm happy to show them off. But it's more just to get that community aspect and follow other people. So you'll see I follow a lot more people than people follow me. Which, yeah, now that I think about it, but so my content can't be that great. But I like all the artists and the writers and things that I follow, because whenever I'm putting up my content, I always try and find the artist and the writer or the cover artist and tag them in the post. And it just gets, you know, it's a good opportunity to try and get those artists onto your channel eventually.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't had any artists of that on my channel, but I'm on Killer Comics with Attention Seeking Geek, Tom from Not Quite Mint, and Geeky Guy Comics, Charlie.
Okay.
And we've had some, you know, big guys. We've had like David Nakayama. We've had John Jiang, Katana Collins, I think her second name is.
Wow.
And we've got some really big names coming up over the next coming months. So that's quite exciting. And we kind of use Instagram as a way of sort of promoting their work, specifically from an indie perspective as well, because those guys don't always get the promo that they need.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I've kind of forgot what your question was, because I went on a wee tangent there.
No, that's it. I asked, you know, why do you create content? And you're literally saying that the reason is to push other things, and you know, you're checking out what other people are doing. So I think that's genius. I think it's perfect. You know, I think it's, you know, a great answer. So, if you had to say, like, you know, some people talk about, like, you know, they get a big break. I know, like, you know, we're, you know, the comic community. Would you say you've had like a big break yet so far? Or anything, like whether it be a CGC grade or hitting a sub count, or, you know, doing a video about something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I guess it's made me focus on what I'm collecting. As I said to you earlier on, like, I have lots and lots of comics, but I would say there's probably 20% of that collection that actually means anything to me.
Okay.
So as I get older, I'm sort of thinking to myself, you know, I don't need all these comics. I want to, rather than collecting to either, I've maybe read the story once or twice and it doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm actually in the process of trying to select all the comics and all the collectibles that I have that I don't want, and to sell them. And actually buy things that, you know, bigger books that I want to get that are going to be long term, that I'm going to enjoy, and obviously there's going to be long term value that's held in those.
Yeah.
You buy a book off the rack and it instantly becomes $1 book.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, the 1 in 100 books that you buy become, you know, sought after. So it's just, it's more focus is where I'm going for at the minute.
Yeah. No.
I'd say from a collection perspective, definitely getting my Star Wars #1. I bought that recently, and the only reason that I was able to afford that was selling books that I didn't want.
Yeah.
So it was literally swapping a load of books for a grail that I'd always wanted.
Yeah. No, cool. Hey, that's the thing, you know, you gotta, I like how, like, you kind of have a goal, you know, and you got that Star Wars one, and we're waiting on that one.
What about you? What's your grail book? What's your big boy book that you're looking for?
Right now, I have two, and I had my hands on one. I had my hands on both, actually. This is terrible. I really want Thor 337 big Beta Ray Bill guy, and then I really want Amazing Spider-Man 319, which is the first cover with Venom. So just a
Okay, yeah.
big Venom guy all the time. But it's funny, my LCS had Amazing Spider-Man 316 in a 9.0. Nope, in a 9.0 for like 150, and I just never bought it. And then all of a sudden, I went in there to buy it, and it was gone. And I was like,
yeah.
did you up the price or is it gone? He's like, it's gone.
Yeah,
And then
I always find if there's a book that I want, and unless there's a real good reason why not to get it, because don't buy it then, and don't worry about it afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like now, I'm trying to find Thor 337, and somebody was selling it on Instagram for such a good price, and it was so clean and it was raw. And I like waited a day, and then I was like 3 or 4 people claimed it within a minute, and I was just like, this sucks.
Well, there you go. There's lots of people in the chat at the minute. There's hopefully lots of people going to be watching the rewind. So if anybody has those books, then hit up Nick.
Yeah, seriously, if you guys looking to toss out some stuff, I'm ready to. If you need to clean out that closet, but yeah, my goal is to. I've read both of the. I've never read Amazing Spider-Man 316, but I've read The True Believer for Thor. I know it's not the same, but my goal is to get those at a higher grade and CGC value them and display them for the personal collection, forever. Nice. So cool. That's my big thing. So, all right, a couple more. We're almost out of here, man.
We can make up some questions. We can get some questions from the chat.
Yeah, we'll hit the chat, and I think I have like 3 questions left. Yeah, that's really it. Who's a big name a couple of subscribers that you really like to follow yourself personally?
Oh, I've got lots and lots and lots and lots. So Comic Deal, James was the reason that I got into YouTube. So definitely go and sub him up. He's a good friend of mine. Sean the Noob doesn't actually have a YouTube channel, but he does. He's on Instagram, so definitely go and check out Sean. Attention Seeking Geek Ben. He's got a fantastic channel. Some of the stuff is really funny that he's putting out at the minute. The little short videos. Ben isn't a big community guy, so he'll probably, you can see in one of the things he's put community and then he's done a little sick emoji. So every time I mention community, he's just like, it's not for him. You've got Charlie, Geeky Guy Comics, where we do killer comics. So myself and Ben and Charlie and Tom from Not Quite Mint have all sort of been doing killer comics for a while, and it's kind of I think the nickname is the bad boys of comics. So I'm the least bad boy of comics you could ever meet, but sure, I'll take it. Jason Parker does some fantastic stuff as well, and big into CGCs, and I enjoy watching him and Amanda when they're doing their videos. They've done like a cracker challenge in the last video. So I need to talk to Jason because we need to set up like a UK America cracker off that we need to do. And yeah, Captain Comics is doing great stuff as well. All the guys that are in the chat are all doing their own thing. And how can I forget Seth Lordley and Spinetix and Azores and Sparks Comics? There's so many.
Yeah.
Everybody just needs to go and sub everybody up and get past that 1,000 algorithm. I think there's a few people in the chat that's past that, but everybody just needs to support everybody else.
This is hysterical.
The self-proclaimed bad boys, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I think it's so funny. So many people, because everything, like I said, it's almost like you watch I'll give you examples of me that I don't know if you know. I mean, you've seen Friends, the show Friends ever? Okay, yeah. It's almost like Friends and Seinfeld and all this stuff, and they all kind of make you laugh in a different way. And you watch everybody's channels, and it's the same thing, So everybody, I see people, I know I do it, and sometimes I get bored of it, but I do my new comic book day videos, and then you look on Thursdays, and everybody does one. But it's cool because I see, what did you get that I get? What did I miss? So that's the thing. I think it's still worth going for.
No, absolutely. I think whenever I first subscribed to you, I don't remember what your subscriber count was at, but I know you haven't asked that question, but I'm going to answer the question that you haven't asked me. The reason I subbed up to you, Nick, was because whenever I was watching your videos, it's like there's a lot of videos that you watch where you can see that it's maybe dare I say, overproduced a little bit. Like you were just real. It was just like you're a guy that jumped to his LCS, jump back on, hit the record button, and then showing off the books that you like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it related to me because it reminded me a lot of myself, I guess, when I was your age. I don't know what age you are, but I'm guessing you're a damn sight younger than I am at the minute, Nick. So, but yeah, that's kind of a reason why I subbed up to yourself, and then that kind of like led me to other people as well. And then obviously, I think you said you'd seen me on Roderican.
Yeah.
Roderican had sort of bigged me up on one of his shows, and we'd done the art challenge as well, which we won. Just FYI, we won.
I've still never won. I'm over. No, I respect that a lot, and it's an honor for you to say that to me. You know, I'm 28, but yeah, no, that's the thing. You know, like I said, I see everybody showing their comic books, and you know, it's just what I want to do. You know, I watch people do their displays, and I'm just like, I want that. You know, and
yeah.
So,
no, definitely. I think Jason just put there, when it stops being fun, that's when it's time to stop. And that's absolutely my mantra. It's like, I say this to a lot of the guys all the time, as soon as it becomes a bit of a chore and you don't enjoy it, it's time to cut it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Even if, because it's, it's funny. And I think this guy here is a great example. I feel like I hadn't seen Captain post videos often, and now he's posting videos left and right, and he is having a blast. Yeah. And he's another one who just keeps pushing so much content for other people. So just another good dude. And to go back to what you were saying about channels being fun and everything, the first time I ever watched, who is this? TB Collects. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in.
How's it going, Tyler?
Okay. The first time, is he talking to you or me?
Jason, you might be.
Oh jeez. One of the first times I watched Jason do a video with Amanda, I was crying my eyes out because they were opening CGC books, and Amanda goes, I guess they send in some of the same books, and she goes, "Wait, is that yours or mine?" And every 9/8, he's like, "Oh, that's mine." He would take it. It's just so funny, man.
Jason's just saying they're both, and I'm just like, should we call you Daddy or what? What's going on here, Jason? This is getting weird.
Daddy Jason Parker Comics. That's too funny.
Daddy Parker.
Oh man! All right, couple more, and I'll let you go for the day, man.
More. I want more. Give me more. Right? Come on, chat.
Yeah, dude. That's the thing. I was saying here earlier. It's such easy content to talk about. Oh my god, this is. This is great.
Not again, Jason. Not again. That was the last.
All right. Do you have any goals this year for whether it be Grails or whether it be like your YouTube channel content, stuff like that? Anything you're looking forward to?
I guess from a YouTube perspective, it's just to keep enjoying it. Which I'm really enjoying at the moment. I almost stopped at Christmas. I actually put up an Instagram post, took it back down again. Because I wasn't enjoying the process and dramas and all that good stuff, and then I found I actually can just go on live here and do all this stuff that I would have normally have taken a few hours to put together, and just do it live, and what you see is what you get. His Welsh arms. Oh, everybody needs a Welshman for a pillow. Is that not how the song goes?
Oh, that's too funny. So keep going. I'm sorry. I saw that and I couldn't keep a straight face.
I've totally lost my train of thought. All I can think of has been nestled in Jason's arms.
There you go. This is funny too. This is
one video ahead of time. Mr. Impromptu. Here the reason why I don't plan my videos is because if I had to plan my videos, my anxiety would kick in and I'd start to think about them and worry about them. So that's why I just go off the cuff. It's just like, what you see is what you get. And for me, it works. I don't know if it works for everybody else, but it seems to work.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, it's that's the thing, the grind is worth it. And even the planning ahead thing, I know, like I know I want to post a video on this day, and this day. I never know when it's going to, what it's going to be of practically. Yeah. Try to do the scheduling and try to expect what I want to see, and then it just never comes out the way I wanted. But, so far this has, so I'll take that.
Fingers crossed. It's never too late. Wait, we've got maybe 5 or 10 minutes more. Could all be downhill from here.
That's all, yeah, too funny. Talk about your channel a little bit, man. Do you I'm a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday guy. I know you guys do pints and what? Oh my god,
Panels and
pints.
pints.
Yeah, on Sundays,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we normally done it every 2 weeks on a Saturday,
Mhm.
and James just had a little baby girl, so he's obviously cleaning dirty nappies at the moment. Normally he's cleaning Sean's dirty nappy, but on the show. But we've sort of taken a little bit of a break. We done panels and pints on my channel, which was horrific for me. It was just a lot of work and too many people and too many things to do. But the 1st of May is hopefully going to be our next show, if James is able to accommodate it.
Very cool.
And I think we're just going to move to once a month. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, we love doing that, and I think we'll try to have you on a couple of times, Nick. But unfortunately, health hasn't been in your favor, and
Never is.
we definitely want you to come on, and I'm sure that everybody that's in the chat is going to be inviting you to their channel as well, just to spread the love, as it were.
Oh man, the secret is out, bro.
Yeah, it's not a secret. And the thing is, he doesn't even wash it. Like, he reuses it and stuff. So.
Oh
Anyway,
man.
next question.
So besides, panels and pints and everything, you do you do a lot of unboxing things, and is that just like done at random, or do you have like a set day and time, or?
No, so random, Nick. It's me you're talking to here. It's so random. Yeah, I do my if I've got anything to show off, I'll jump on, and it's 9 times out of 10 it's whenever it's a quiet house. So I've got 2 young kids. I've got two girls, and they take up a lot of my time. And whenever they're preoccupied, it allows me to jump up and go live. I do a Killer Comics show with Charlie and the guys. So that's every Thursday, which is really enjoyable. Cool. And there's some plans happening at the minute, which I can't go into too much detail, but we're hopefully going to be introducing something quite new soon as part of the UK community. So that'll be exciting.
Awesome. So basically what you're telling everybody in this chat is that if you want to watch Andy with the random scheduling, you got to hit that bell notification, because that's huge.
This is a public service announcement for anybody that's watching, anybody that's going to be watching in replay. Tickle that bell. Just give it a little tickle, and you'll know exactly when I'm going to go live. There you go.
That's all you got to do. That 2 clicks, bell, all done.
Done. Exactly.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Andy? Because I'm all out of them, to be honest. We'll give it a few minutes in the chat.
I'm going to ask you some questions, Nick. This is going to, the spotlight's going to go back on you, Nick.
Oh, geez.
Right. You ready for this? You ready for this?
Well, yes. So
why did you start YouTube? What was the thing that got you to click that button and record the video?
So I was never like, even when I was young, by me there weren't enough like LCSs or anything. So in 2017 I started working for this guy who had like all these superhero tattoos, and I was like, oh, and he was this big jack dude, and I was like, oh, it's really cool. Like, me thinking that it's gonna be corny that I like to watch these movies. And then one day he comes in with this big box of comics, and I was like, oh, what is that? And he's like, oh, this is my like order from my shop. I was like, what shop? And it was around the corner. So one day we go in there together, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I got a couple of books, which turned into tons of books. And then one day, like I was saying, I kind of was just posting some pictures to my Instagram, to my personal Instagram, and I was like, nobody's gonna even like these. Like, these people are just gonna look and be like, oh, what is that? Like, it doesn't matter, So, and like I said, one night that girl at work told me, she's like, why don't you do a comic book page? So I was like, okay, I'll try that. So one night I snuck into that, and then this is great.
Tyler loves it when I talk tickles with him. He loves it.
I initially started doing everything live through Instagram, which I could not stand because I don't have the first ever video. It was me and my brother was my guest. We called it Nintendo at the time.
Dude, that's a good name. I like that. You should have kept that. You'd have probably get sued if you'd have kept it, but it was a good name.
And we talked about The Walking Dead for like 2 hours, and the video ended. I hit save, and it didn't save from Instagram, so I don't have anything from it. And then I kept doing it, and I kept getting so upset with Instagram with these live videos, but I had a lot of people watching,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go over to YouTube and I'll make videos and post them there. And then one night somebody was like, you should go live. Um, and that's when all my live stuff happened. So I think it was kind of the push from Instagram to YouTube for me that got me to start doing the videos, but also like the community was just a lot different. Like I was watching these YouTube videos and you just see all these names that I still follow today talking to one another, joking around, and I was like, I would love to be a part of this. And even if I'm just another voice in the crowd, that's perfectly fine. I'm still there and present. So it just made it that much easier. Where I think on Tuesday nights I was watching what did they used to call it? I watched Rod the Rican, Perry, John's Comics with Kids, and Edwin from and they would do a show. I can't remember what it was called.
That's a solid lineup of YouTubers you just mentioned there.
These guys are heavy. I was like, these dude, like they called themselves the Four Horsemen, but it was like Buy or Pass, something like that. And then that would end, and Perry would do a show called Lurkers, which I loved. He would literally like show you his screen. He would go on other people's YouTube channels and get everybody in the chat to subscribe to them. And I was like, this dude's amazing. Like, it was cool. And he would just, like, before we would leave and go to the next channel, he would write, keep up the content and give him a thumbs up. Like, so that's just the thing. And that's when I was like, I kind of built the confidence from that to get into this more, So good question. Good question.
Thanks. What do you think? What's your sort of view of the UK comic community? I mean, like a lot of the times whenever I'm on the US channels and stuff like that, they obviously know that there's some sort of community, but I don't think they appreciate how big it is and how many channels there is, and we all sort of collaborate and do our own things separately, and together we do other channels and stuff. So what's your view in the UK comic community of what you've seen so far?
I think it's so amazing how like you can go and watch somebody, videos in the States, and you see, you watch Lamer Frame, and we were all making so much fun of each other. And then I go and watch a channel like yours, like I watched Panels and Pints, I think it was whatever the last one was. And it was kind of like this chat where everybody was just busting each other's chops. And I was like, it's literally the same. Like we are all the same. This is so awesome. And so when you guys did that UK versus the States show, I was just like, this is great. Like you might not all, because that's the thing. Like every time I've been on Lamer Frame, there's only been two people I know, Rod and Bearded. So I'm like, I'm playing with these strangers, and it's like I don't want to make fun. But the first time I played with like Lady Fantastic, she commented and she was like, "What the hell did you just?" And I was like, "Oh no!"
Put you at ease. Yeah,
it's so fun. But I learned so much today from you. I was talking to you about are there a lot of shops by you and everything, because I don't know how it works on the other side of the world realistically. So I think it's super cool that, like I said, it's all the same, man. It's amazing how we're all practically the same with the same love for everything, which makes, we joke around and say we have the best community, I don't see baking people say they have the best community.
Well, that's true. Absolutely. No, that's true. That is really, really cool. And what's your plans over the next 3 to 6 months? And obviously you've just got StreamYard up and running, and I think you've subscribed, so you're paying for it. So that's a year's worth of content there waiting to happen. What's the plan in the next 12 months?
I gotta keep up with the schedule, man. I'm not a morning person realistically. So like I would always do my read of the weeks on Friday, and if I didn't write down what I was doing, I would just be like, I would look hungover, and I'd be like, I'm not. I just wasn't awake and everything. So my goal is to truly stay on schedule. It's so funny how I put one video out when I got my first CGC book back. My average view count is like, it's climbing every day, which is awesome. I love seeing it. But like I put a CGC book video out, and all of a sudden I was like, I think it has like 400 views now. And I was like, what in the hell? This is amazing. But so CGC on top of that
is the way that I think that's where you got all your sort of views and things like that, because even when you go into things like your analytics and stuff like that, you'll see what did you try? Well, you can actually see what people are actually searching for on Google whenever they get to your channel. And literally mine is all CGC and Pokemon, funnily enough, which I was talking to you the other, I think, was it you? I can't remember. So basically I bought my first 4 packets of Pokemon cards, opened them up with James live on my channel, and then literally retired from Pokemon collecting right after it. I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't have a clue what a reverse holo was. And I felt so out my depth, and I was just like, no, I'm done.
You know, it's fun. It's you know, I commented back to you. I was like, we could get a pack of Pokemon cards, or we could get a comic book. You know, it's just a good way to put it. Oh man, this question is definitely for you and not me, Andy.
If you were to kiss any fellow comic book YouTuber on the lips, who would it be and why?
Oh man,
It
that's
depends, though. It depends. I'd say you'd be quite ahead of the queue, Ben. I'd say you would be first because I think you'd make the effort, Ben. I think you know. I'd say probably Sean as a close second, and James Comic Deal would be my sloppy thirds.
there you go. We have another question
Thanks
too.
for the question, Ben.
What else do you guys collect other than comics, figures, cards, flamingo?
How did he know about my flamingo collection? It's all graded as well.
That's too funny.
What about you? What? I mean, I can see some of the stuff behind you, Nick.
Yeah, I was into Pop Funkos for a long time, and I bought way too many of them. I wish I didn't. On top of that, I mean, I still collect certain ones. I am a huge, I mean, in case you couldn't tell, growing
Nice.
up, you know, I was a huge Super Mario fan, and then there were no toys, there were no books, there was nothing for it by me in the United States, you know, and like now all of that stuff has become massive.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I collect anything with Super Mario on it. I play all the games, any figure, any puzzle, any little book. And any all those Lego figures, I have it all now. You know, that's just
Nice.
a big thing for me. I've always loved. So
I think that's when like really like nostalgia is the key. If you can hit the nostalgia strings, as it were, then people are just going to buy it. It doesn't matter how much money it is. I think Pokemon's. I think it's the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, so that's taking a resurgence as well. And before you know it, and I guess there's disposable income at the minute because of obviously the pandemic. People are not traveling and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess for me, most of the stuff that I collect, you can see. So figures, a big Star Wars fan. Boba Fett is one of my favorite characters. So it's Boba Fett and Spawn are like my two go-to characters.
Very
followed by
cool.
Judge Dredd. Comics, I've got lots and lots of comics. I mean, I wish I could show you everything that's here. Lego, I'm a big Lego collector as well.
Oh, so sick. I didn't know that.
Unopened Lego. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But as I say, I've got to the stage now where it's just taking stock of everything that I have and trying to filter through all the stuff that I don't really want to keep. That's when I'm at the minute.
Yeah, cool.
Flamingos as well. I can hit you up, Tyler, if you want to trade some flamingos.
I feel like it's so hard too, being like you said, you're a completionist, and obviously it's hard because you got to put some time and some money into it. But I think it's amazing. There are certain things like I want all of, and I just, I say to myself, I'll work there slowly and slowly I'll get to it. So I think that makes it awesome.
And it's true, you definitely will get to it. Like I didn't think I'd get Star Wars 1, but I just went, right, okay, I know what grade I can afford. And I'm just going to try and hit that goal. And there's a little bit more sense of achievement whenever you actually do get there, especially if you're effectively swapping it for stuff that you didn't really want anyway.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the way to go. I always at the start of the year set myself my top picks for trying to find. So I'll pick 5 books. I'll stick it up on Instagram. And I think I've got 2 of them so far. So
very cool. That's
yeah.
awesome. Very, very cool. We have a really good question here that I think I'll lead into a little bit something else. So Catman asked us if you could have a souvenir from each other's country, what would it be? When I kind of started my Instagram page, I picked a comic book and I read it. And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do with this book? I'm going to put 2 boards behind it. One of them is going to be the instructions. One of them will be a list of people. And I was like, I'm going to start with a friend I know, and I'm going to give it to him, and I'm going to have him read it. And I think said, read this comic book. If you enjoyed it, awesome. If you didn't, that's okay. But I just want everyone to pass it on. And, a year from now, I want to see if we can get it back to me and see how many names got on it. So I think this is a pretty cool question, because at one point I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's anybody who I could send something that I have to them, and then they would send something to me. But then I realized like the values and things. And I was like, not the best idea, because I feel like I would end up accidentally shorting somebody or something. But you have a good answer for this one?
I was interested. Like, so is it? I guess what Captain's saying here is like, so I'm Scottish. I'm from Scotland, born in Glasgow. Is there anything Scottish that you would like from Scotland? I guess, and then mine's is obviously is there anything from New York,
Yeah.
America. So I guess I would like if I could take a souvenir. What's like? Do you know a pint of Guinness from the Dead Rabbit Bar in New York on Water Street? I was talking to you before we went live.
Yeah.
I was in the Dead Rabbit Bar for a lot more nights than I like to admit whenever I was at New York Comic Con a couple of years ago. And it was the best pint of Guinness that I've probably had outside Dublin. And that's if you ask anybody who likes their Guinness, that is a big thing. So probably if you can package up a pint of Guinness from the Dead Rabbit Bar, that would be great. What
Very
about what
cool.
would you like? Would you like some kilts or some haggis or
You know
some
what's
deep
funny?
fried Mars bars or
Anytime I go somewhere I've never been, I like to bring home. I typically try to like to bring home something. When I was young, for some reason, I like bringing home shot glasses. I was like 19. I was like, I don't even take shots. And now, oh God, look at what he did. Do you see what you just did, Andy? Do you
there
see
we
what you just
go.
did?
Do you know what?
Um,
Anybody good at Photoshop?
uh, that's funny. I really like oh my God, what is it called? They're like not the coasters. There's you like put it on the outside of a beer bottle. I had some. I think I have one here.
Like a beer like caddy thing, like a little.
Yeah, that's it exactly. It's like this is from a this is just from a diner in
Oh,
my
wait a minute, Nick. Wait a minute. You've unveiled that nobody's ever seen inside Nick's closet.
oh
What
God.
what's what
So
goodies
there's
have
all
you
the
got in there?
alcohol, everybody, that I don't drink.
Wait a minute. Look at that haul, guys. Is there something you want to tell us, Nick?
Isn't it terrible? It's so funny because my I live at home still. My mom jokes around and calls me a closet alcoholic, and all of those bottles are full. Like that's just
I've thought of a new YouTube segment, Nick Stash. There
another
we
show.
go.
There you go. Going to 5 days, people. See if I koozie. That's what it's called. A koozie. That's
Koozie.
exactly what it is. So I like those things. Something like that I can always kind of have with me and keep it. So like I said, this is from a diner in my friend's town in Vermont where he lives. So
I don't actually even think that we do them in the UK, like koozies. I've never heard of that before. But I can just see it now after the show, Nick. We're going to be like pen pals. We're going to be like exchanging gifts.
there you go. Too funny. Log tossing Nick. God, this is a guy I need to get on Origins, man.
Do you know the thing, Captain? I read that comment and I didn't read the first word of it. And I just read tossing Nick in kilt. And I was like, how rude. That sounds absolutely filthy.
That's funny.
A tea cozy. Tea cozy for a beer.
There you go. Yeah. Too funny. Any other questions, anybody, before we sign out of here for the day? Oop, I just got something. There you go, Cap.
Seashells. Nice.
Do they have seashells in South Dakota, bro?
When he's traveling.
Yeah.
If nobody's got any other questions, I mean, I just want to say thanks very much, Nick, for having me on. It's been an absolute blast. For not having done StreamYard ever, you nailed it. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Just to remind everybody that on the way out, just please make sure that you hit the thumbs up on this and obviously subscribe to Nick if you haven't already done so. And I guess Nick's going to be sharing this, and so will I on Instagram. So if you can spread the word, and if anybody wants to come on and do what I've done and chat geek with Nick, then hit him up on Instagram, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to have you on.
I'm just taking a picture of us real quick with the camera. Yeah, no, dude, thank you so much. Thanks for the shout out and everything. And thanks for everything you've done for my channel. Doing the background for this. I mean, I'll never forget this because this is going to be the background of this for every time I do this on Mondays. So
no, not a problem, mate. Anytime, as I said, it's been great to get to know you and stuff. And this is the first time that we all spoke together, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for all the great comments. And Andy, thanks for bringing along so many people, man. I can't thank you enough. This was so much fun, and I don't think it could have been easier to do it for the first time. So,
what was this? The telephone? Oh yeah. The big logs. I can't even remember what they call them. I'm a bad Scottish person, but it's it's like a timber. Like timber. Yeah.
That's very funny. Thank you.
The cool thing is watching Nick try to work out how he stops the live stream. I did actually talk him through it, but this will be a test to see if he can remember.
I
But
hope
Nick,
I work it well.
tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram and all that sort of stuff. That's what us YouTubers normally do, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, you find me here and on YouTube, on Instagram under the same name, Nick the Comic Nerd. I'm pointing at it. This is ridiculous. I'm pointing at it with the mouse that nobody can see. Doing great. It was doing so well. Like you said,
was doing so well.
And everybody check out Andy for sure at Perpetual Comics. I do have one more question for you. I wrote it down. Oh my God, this is like it's probably the most important question. So anyways, Andy's link is in the bio. Definitely check it out. In the description, definitely check it out. What made you decide the name Perpetual Comics? Only the important question I wanted to ask you.
No, that's a cool question. So Perpetual Comics, I picked that name because comic collecting is never ending. It's perpetual.
Very cool. That easy of an answer too. You were prepared for that one.
If I had a mic, I'd be dropping it right
now. Amazing. All right, Andy, thank you again so much, bro. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the chat. It's amazing. I keep pointing at the chat, and it's not over there. But definitely join us next time, Andy. Hopefully you can hang in the chat next time, and we'll figure out something to do again soon, bro. All right?
Sweet. Perfect.
All right, guys. Cheers. Enjoy your comics. Stay safe. So I'm going to click end broadcast.
End broadcast.
And again.